We finished Resident Evil Village here last week, and now we've got our review coming up now. But along with the review, we also have a handy-dandy little thing, because there's a Mod Games First. We're also going to be getting the Platinum Trophy today. So that's why we have an extra hour to get all that stuff sorted. So we're gonna start with the review, and then we're gonna do the Platinum Trophy. Let's talk about Resident Evil Village, okay? Let's just chat about it. So we began this game on July 3rd, and we finished it on July 24th. So we began and we finished it all in the month of July, and we got the platinum all in the month of July. So this has been a very concise experience, but a very good one. Took us 7 streams to finish. It took us 18 hours, 21 minutes, and 55 seconds to get through the entire shebang. And it took me 14 pages of notes. Best parts. I think that this story is very beautifully down to earth. One of my greatest criticisms of Resident Evil 5 and 6 is that the story is a little out there. The story can be a little out there at times, and sometimes they would do things that feel so out of left field that it jumped the shark for me. There were many moments in 5 and 6 that it jumped the shark for me. 7 was a return to form, and I loved my experience with 7. But something about 8 just built on it. It just built on what 7 began, and I think it is made so much richer because of it. This is a game that is made with so much love to the RE universe, and that segues us to the next point, which is it's wonderful lore-wise. You know what I mean? If you've played the other Resident Evil games, there are so many little things that this game offers for the Resident Evil fans out there. If you've played Resident Evil 5, if you played Resident Evil 4, there are so many things that just really cater to you, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. Also, lore-wise, it is so interesting. One of my criticisms of Resident Evil 6 was that it feels a little too nebulous. It feels like it's its own world apart from the Resident Evil lore. But this game ties everything together in much the same way that Resident Evil 5 does. Resident Evil 5 builds on the lore of viruses, on the lore of the progenitor virus, of Albert Wesker and all that stuff. And I believe that 8 does the same thing. It builds on that. It builds on the foundations of Umbrella. It attaches Resident Evil 4. It attaches Resident Evil 1. It attaches Resident Evil 7, of course. You know what I mean? All these things. And that's how you add an installment in a series, is by building on things that you've established. That's what I think 6 was missing, but 8 did it beautifully. Fascinating villain designs and just overall just fascinating villains. I think that it is so cool to see the differences between Dimitrescu and the Dimitrescu Castle versus Heisenberg and Moreau, and seeing how they all bow down to Mother Miranda and they fear her. You know what I mean? Very compelling villain designs. And also, fighting them is also different, right? The fight with Donna is different than the fight with Heisenberg, which is different than the fight with Dimitrescu. It's so interesting how they've crafted these gameplay differences. The way that Dimitrescu moves around like Mr. X or a Nemesis, right? That's another callback to previous Resident Evil games. The way she moves around like that versus the way that you have to do the action elements of Resident Evil 5 and 6 almost to fight Heisenberg. It's so cool how they planned this out. Great grunt designs. One of my criticisms of Resident Evil 7 was that the mold gets a little repetitive. I'm not gonna lie to you. The mold gets a little repetitive. You fight the same black sludgy thing from all of the game, right? But in this one, they went balls to the wall, and it's beautiful. I love fighting the Lycans, the Morokai, the Varkalak, the Urias, you know what I mean? All of these really cool enemy types and the designs of them. Like, honestly, looking at the Lycan fills me with such like a revulsion, almost a visceral fear just looking at the when you get a close-up of the Lycans. It's so and that's perfect to me. That's perfect. I love that. Another thing is this is one of the best DLCs, if not the best DLC that Resident Evil has out. It's lengthy, it has a good story, it matters to the lore quite a bit, and it has a lot of heart in it. There's a lot of heart, and there's a beautiful message of like sticking true to yourself. Honestly, there's a video that I once watched on TikTok where they talk about how the insecurities you have, the insecurity that you have about your nose, about your lips, the physical insecurities that you have, it relates to how your parents look as well. You know what I mean? If you hate your nose, do you also hate the nose that your dad gave you? You know what I mean? Does that make sense? That's what it feels like. And I feel like that's the same kind of message here, where Rose hates this mold part about her, but that's what her dad gave her, you know? Ugh. I love it. Terrifying visuals and cinematography. We're gonna talk about that more later, but I love how they shot this. I love how they didn't shoot this, but I love how they planned the shots for this. It's very, very unsettling. There's so many unsettling moments. Crawling like near Dimitrescu, and like the bugs climbing out of your hand, the Lycans snarling right in your face. There's so many just unsettling moments in this, and that's how you make a good horror game, you know what I mean? That's how you make a good thriller. I think it also has great plot pacing. I would say that the ending is a little rushed, but I think that the pacing overall is really good. I didn't feel like I was, my head was spinning. I feel like there was enough to keep me excited throughout the entire thing. And the twists are also very, very good. The twist about Ethan's mold status, you know what I mean, is really interesting. The twist of what Rose can do and all that stuff, very, very interesting. Also, there's some great foreshadowing work done in this as well. One in particular that I'll mention in our lore board later is the fact that in the opening section, very opening scene, after Mia reads the fairy tale story, there is a shot of the witch of the fairy tale and her. And that is amazing foreshadowing that is indeed Mother Miranda. I thought that was so cool. And when I played through the game again, I was like, oh my god. There's just so many moments like that, and it's excellent. So, really cool. Not so best parts, I don't have a lot to say about this, but there are some. I wish that there was more memorable songs in the OST. I think that, this is something that I say about most of the RE games. I don't think there's a whole lot of memorable soundtracks, which I think is by design. But I just wish that there were, right? I'm also spoiled with Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy has a ton of really good music. So I feel like I just wish that there was some music like that in Resident Evil that I can like attach to. Resident Evil 4 has some. They have The Drive, which I really enjoy. They have the Go Tell Aunt Rhody in 7. I just wish that 8 had one as well. Personal preference, I did not like the factory. I think a lot of parts of Heisenberg's section, I felt a little rushed, didn't feel very good. And personally, I just don't like levels that look like that, and like levels in like industrial areas. I'm not a fan of it, but it's not enough for me to really ding it for anything. And same with the Heisenberg fight. I think the Heisenberg fight didn't feel as satisfactory as I wanted it to be. But yeah. Also Chris Redfield. I think Chris Redfield was very stupid in this game. He just made some choices in this game that I think are like, they did it for dramatic effect, like not telling Ethan why he shot Mia, right? Because it would spoil the entire thing if he was like, oh, Ethan, I can't explain, it's hard to explain, but there's a woman who's pretending to be, you know, Mother Miranda, pretending to be your wife and trying to kidnap your daughter. But he couldn't even give him like a little hint. He couldn't even say like, relax, Ethan, I know this is a scary moment, I just killed your wife, but just relax, don't worry, we're handling it. He was just an asshole from the very beginning, and it's like, why though? Ethan's like your friend, you know? He just made some decisions in this that I think are super duper questionable. I think some of them are even out of character. I think that a lot of them are just kind of dumb, if I'm being honest. A lot of the things that decisions he made are kind of dumb, so I don't know. Chris was not very well written in this part. In 8. Okay, let's move away from that, talking about some positives. Who's my favorite character in Resident Evil 8 Village? It is none other than my boy Ethan. I love Ethan Winters so much. So much. Ethan, dare I say this, chat? Dare I say this? Him and Leon Kennedy oscillate as my favorite Resident Evil protagonists. And that's... I love Leon very, very much, but there's just something about the way that Ethan Winters is written. There's just something about the way that Ethan is just like, is not like a super agent. He is a very down-to-earth human being. When Luisa died, not Luisa, that one girl, Elena, when Elena dies in the beginning of this game, and he's like, why does everyone keep dying on me? I think made me really, really like Ethan. The fact that his goals are always revolving around saving his family, the fact that he never got the happily ever after that he was after, that he deserved, is so sad, so heartbreaking, right? All he wanted to do was save his daughter, but he couldn't enjoy it. He couldn't enjoy watching her grow up. It's so sad. And to me, that's what makes him really compelling. I feed off the sadness of my favorite characters, and I think that Ethan provides that in spades. And that's why he's my favorite. Least favorite character, yeah, you're not going to be surprised. It was Chris Redfield. Yeah, Chris Redfield is really... as I said earlier, he's made so many decisions in this game that I just think are so questionable, a little out of character, and I'm like, I just wish that you would have chosen a different thing. Even his own teammates were like, you should have told Ethan from the beginning, and he's like, yeah, I know. He just baffles my brain. Chris Redfield in this game just baffles my brain. Favorite boss, though, might surprise you. It's Mother Miranda. Dimitrescu was an easy second place, but I loved the fact that there were little bits and pieces of her other lords, of her little children, that she like incorporated in her boss fight. You know what I mean? I just think it was really cool, like the swooping down, much like Dimitrescu did, the dark rooms, much like Benviento did, firing projectiles at you, and all those like, you know, lights and things, which reminded me a lot of Heisenberg, and some of the charging that she did reminded me of Moreau. I just love the fact that she feels like a culmination of all of the other lords. One of my criticisms of Resident Evil 4 was that Sadler felt like he was overshadowed by everybody else. All the other villains in Resident Evil 4 felt cooler than Sadler did. But Mother Miranda was not that. Mother Miranda is easily the scariest, the most terrifying villain in 8. Because everybody fears her. Everybody is respectful of her, except for Heisenberg, but I think that that's what makes her so compelling. Favorite story moment in Resident Evil 8, though, was this one in the DLC. When Ethan grabs her face and says, "You're all grown up." Oh, come on. When she accepts her mold powers because it came from her dad. This is the stuff that books are written about, dude. I could write a whole dissertation about this one moment in the story because it's so good, so good. Learning self-acceptance because that part that you don't accept in yourself is from your parents. Seeing Ethan and all that stuff. It's so good. It's so good. I love this part so much. I could watch this ending all day, every day. Please don't let my boy die. Please don't let my boy die. Okay. Favorite lore bit though was everything in Mother Miranda's history. Her connection all the way back to Resident Evil 1, which we are currently playing. Her research into the Megamycete and the and handing out parts of it to the connections in what they used for Evelyn. Basically everything in her lab connected Resident Evil 8 to the rest of the Resident Evil universe. And to me, perfect. I loved it. Spectacular, give me 16 more. You know, that's how I felt about Mother Miranda's lab. So, all in all, Village is so spectacular. What a spectacular experience overall. I have enjoyed playing this game non-stop. From the moment that we finished our first playthrough, I have played through this game at least 5 or 6 times. That's how much I have really enjoyed my time with Resident Evil 8, you guys. Villains are so good. The arc of Ethan is so good. The story of Ethan is so good. As a Resident Evil fan, it's so good. There's so many good things that I can say about this game, and it would not feel like it's enough. It was that amazing for me. So, what do I rate this game? What do I rate Resident Evil 8? I have decided to do this new thing with you, chat. A new thing with you guys where I will break it down a little bit. So, when I finished this game, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I would give the story a 9 out of 10 as well. I think that where its imperfections lie is in the Heisenberg section, and I think with Chris. I think those two sections are where it's weakest in. I wish that there was a little bit more Heisenberg, less Factory, personally. And I wish that, I wish we could explore a little bit more about Heisenberg's like potential coup. I wish we could have explored that a little bit more. And with Chris, like I said, he just made a lot of stupid decisions in this that I wish weren't the case. Gameplay though, 10 out of 10. I loved playing this game. I loved the strength of the weaponry. I loved the differentiation with the levels. You know what I mean? Like Castle Dimitrescu felt different than Moreau's place, than Castle Beneviento. I loved how different everything feels, and just the gameplay of this is so addicting, so fun. I couldn't get enough. Give me 10 more games like this, and I'd be happy as a clam. Ambiance, as I said before, like the horror ambiance, the snarling in your face, the biting of your hands, the slicing off, the vampire zombies, all really cool parts of this game, and they just really added together to make a spectacular horror vibe, and I could not get enough of that. So loved it. 10 out of 10 for that as well. And personal enjoyment, as you can tell, I really like this game. I really like this game. I had a really good time. You do not play a game 6 times if you do not enjoy it. So yes, it is a 10 out of 10 for personal enjoyment. So overall, adding all that together, putting that in the handy dandy little calculator I have in my brain, what do I get? This is a 10 out of 10 game for me. This is a 10 out of 10 game for me. I loved my experience with this, could not get enough, and it has been an excellent time. Excellent time. So I'm very happy to make this the second 10 out of 10. So here's our 2024 graph. So all the games that we played in 2024. I'm honored that Resident Evil 8 is the second game to receive this honor. So where does it rank in the Resident Evil games that we played? Here are the 6 Resident Evil games we played. We're currently playing Resident Evil 1 right now, so that's not going to be on here quite yet. So where does it rank among all of this, right? Where does it rank among all of this? You might be surprised, but it has overtaken Resident Evil 4 as my favorite. It's so spectacular, so spectacular. Because I love Resident Evil 4, I have to love Resident Evil Village because it like made so many homages to that. It's literally a perfect storm. It's such a perfect storm for lore, for gameplay, for everything. I just loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I can play this game all day, every day. It's so good. So good. So, that is our rankings. So if you liked Resident Evil Village, here are some things that I can recommend you to try out. Van Helsing, I think, is the most that I would is the most like this that I would recommend. It's a early 2000s movie, very cool, kind of that gothic vibe if you really liked that part of it, the vampires, the werewolves, all that stuff. Van Helsing starring Hugh Jackman, I would say fits that vibe. If you are new to the Resident Evil series though, definitely try Resident Evil 4 Remake. I think that that is the most like this in gameplay. And so check that out. It is still in the RE engine that they have, so it'll be the easiest entry point if you've only played Resident Evil 8. And here's some books that I think would really fit the vibe. The Lost Apothecary deals with what's the word? Experimentation, alchemy, all that stuff. Stars women who are scorned. So check that out if you kind of vibed with Dimitrescu and Mother Miranda. Cemetery Boys, I feel like gave off the same kind of vibe with the magic and the undead and all that stuff. Also, it's LGBT. It stars trans people. Very cool. And Berenice by Edgar Allan Poe is also along those kind of same lines of a woman who is scorned by a man, a woman who is the subject of a horror thing. I think also fits that vibe. Oh, also Cemetery Boys has a lot of themes with family as well, so that's also evident in Village. Okay, so these are my recommendations. So we're gonna come back to this PowerPoint after we get the platinum. Let's get that platinum trophy right now. So Monty, what is the platinum trophy? Or what is the trophy that you're missing? What is the trophy that stands in your way between you and that platinum? What is it, Monty? What is it? I told you I picked an easy one to round this off with. It is literally the last one. It is literally just to view the concept art. So that's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be viewing the concept art and then enjoying as the platinum trophy just falls into our lap today. I've already unlocked it. I've already unlocked all the concept art. No worries there. Oh, Mia in a wheelchair would have been a really interesting choice that they made. Interesting. And look, you can see that in the Ethan art, they would have given him a beard. That'd be crazy. I like him without the beard, but the beard would have been interesting. Oh, he says Rose. Aw. Oh, look at the middle one. For her to be dressed like Evelyn, interesting choice. Very interesting. That would have been a really interesting choice. Yikes. Honestly, I like I said, have my problems with this Chris Redfield, but this is the most well designed Chris Redfield. I love the jacket and all that stuff. I love that in this one, in the top right one, they just gave his 7 figure of facial hair. God, I love the Lycan designs. The Varkolak. The Varkolax, I don't know if y'all knew this, is actually made by Moreau. Moreau made the Varkolax. Wow. She's so cool. There is a reference to her in the beginning. We'll talk about that in a second. Why does it have the color palette for her underwear? That's wild. The three daughters, Bella, Daniela, and Cassandra. Very cool. Talk about that in a second. Oh, wow. Look at this one. Look how freaky. Look how freaky. Wait, what is that? Is that an X-ray? Oh my god. There's an X-ray of him. Look at this X-ray of him. He's like, his back is arched, but there's like a cadeau like hanging out on his right here on the back of his neck. That is so cool. Yikes. He looks like Billy Butcher. Mother Miranda done killed my wife. I took my bloody daughter. Y'all, look at the bottom right Mother Miranda. Look at that. That look kills. That is a face card that never runs out. That is a face card that never runs out. Bottom right Miranda. Come on now. This Mia face is low-key kind of scary. this Mia face is kind of my nightmares a little bit. Oh my god. Look how terrifying this is. Dimitrescu in the all the way in the back. That's terrifying. Chat, this literally looks like an SCP thing. This literally looks like a thing that you would find on a creepypasta, right? They would have this image on a creepypasta and like someone would be like reading one out. That's scary. Look at her, look at Dimitrescu smiling at you from the mirror. Love. Oh my god. Look at this one. That's so sick. I wish we got to know more about the lords. I think that's one of the things I wish we got to know more of. The 4 lords of the village. Also, the fact that we never got a name of the village is wild and wacky to me. Who the hell is this? Oh, it's the BOWBSAA guy. Interesting. This is the BSAA BOW. All right. Guns. Can we see it? Chat, we've done it. We have done it. Our first Resident Evil Platinum Trophy, and I am honored beyond measure that it is called Ethan Winters. My boy Ethan Winters. Ethan. But we have it. All 50 trophies for Resident Evil 8 Village. Head back to our PowerPoint presentation where we're going to talk about the Platinum journey getting here. So, I think that the hardest trophy to get in this was Universe's Best Dad. So this is playing through the game again on Village of Shadows difficulty. And like the majority of it is not bad if you have like the unlimited ammo thing, which I did do. I did do the unlimited ammo thing. But there are certain sections like the Chris section and the actually I have it down here. The Heisenberg boss fight. I was raging so hard during this section, chat. When you were in that little rinky-dink little thing that Chris made you, I was raging so hard because it's so difficult to fight this man. This man had like a health bar for days, dude. And the fucking laser pointer section, when you're like loading it up and all the lichens are coming towards you, I was like, come on. Leave me be. So that's what made this part really, really difficult. Everything else was kind of like just kind of doing it, you know what I mean? That's how I felt about most of the trophies. I think that the most grind intensive trophy though was Veteran Gunsmith. This one definitely took quite a bit of time. This is the one where you have to find or like attach buy all of the attachments for every gun in the game. And this one takes a few playthroughs to get enough money for that. So I would say this one is also between this one and Tinkerer, which is to craft every item. And to get every recipe, you would have to beat the game on the village difficulty. But I still think that Veteran Gunsmith just takes the longest to get. Favorite trophy though to get was Dashing Dad. I thought that this was really fun. This is the speed run one to beat this game in under 3 hours. Very, very doable. Especially if you have the grenade launcher. I didn't have the Magnum yet, but I ran through the game with the grenade launcher. Kicked so much ass. It was very fun. It was very fun. And so I think to get the Platinum Trophy for this game, I would say is about a 7 out of 10. 10 being the most difficult, 1 being the least. It's a 7 out of 10. I don't think that it is especially difficult. It's definitely like in the middle of the pack. I think you're gonna have the most trouble with Mercenaries and Village of Shadows. I think those are the hardest ones to get, but everything else is just a matter of doing it. You can follow a guide that makes it so much easier to find like all the the files and all that stuff. But overall, I wouldn't say that it's like terribly difficult. So here's some tips though. If you have not gotten the Platinum Trophy for Resident Evil 8 and you are thinking about it, here are my tips. After you do a first playthrough and after you experience the game for the first time, go on a collectibles run. Go on a collectibles run, find all the goats, find all the files, fit together all of the little treasure pieces together and sell it to the Duke, and just make as much lay as you can. Make as much lay as you can. Second time around, buy the karambit from the item shop, but it's just a hand-in-hand little knife, and do the speed run, no health items, and don't visit the Duke at all, but still gather as much treasures as you can. Actually, do visit the Duke and sell things, and you can knock out the 3 hours easy. If you need more lay, I would suggest going and doing the game on hardcore mode, maybe as a way to ease yourself into the Village of Shadows mode, because you need a lot of lay in order to get the weapons, in order to get the attachments. That's why you need as much lay as you can. But I did Village of Shadows with 2 things. I could have gone through the entire game with just 2 things, and that is the Stake Magnum and the Grenade Launcher. If you just get both of those things and level them all the way up and get the unlimited ammo, you are high near untouchable. High near untouchable. Stake Magnum especially. Stake Magnum, 1 to 5 shots for the bosses. 1 to 5 shots for the bosses. But it is the most expensive to get, so just keep that in mind. But it made the run 10 times easier. And then for Mercenaries, to get the Mercenary trophies, my recommendation is that you do it with Dimitrescu or Heisenberg, because with Ethan and with Chris, it does take away certain abilities and certain things. It takes away I think with Ethan it takes away everything except for your Lemmy pistol. And I think it's the same thing with Chris as well. But with Dimitrescu, it doesn't do that. You still have all the things that you need to use in order to play as her. And once I did that, it was easy peasy lemon squeezy. So she's very, very good. Very, very good. Dimitrescu's very fun to play. So here are the 10 other games that I have platinumed. It is Skyrim, KH3, Far Cry 3, 7 Remake, 16, Saints Row, Batman, 15, Final Fantasy 15, Detroit, and Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. Now, most of these I didn't do on stream. They were before I started streaming. But where does Resident Evil Village land in this? Where does it land? It lands right there on number 9. I would say that it relies a lot on replaying, right? It's a lot of replaying, so I wouldn't say that it's my favorite because of that. But it's still enjoyable. It's still an enjoyable platinum journey experience. And I also switched out 16 and remakes as well. I feel like the sense of accomplishment that I got from finishing Village's Platinum Trophy is not the same as when I would finish it for these other games, because there's a total sense of accomplishment for finishing a lot of these. With Village, I didn't get that as much. Perhaps it's because I did do Village of Shadows with the unlimited ammo thing, but the game gave it to me, so am I not supposed to use that, so still overall a good experience. Before we wrap up, let us wrap up our lore board and we'll call it a day. because I have some theories. I have some Resident Evil 8 theories before we wrap up for the day. Here is our Resident Evil 8 lore board. Our Resident Evil 8 lore board. So I added everything that we found out from Shadows of Rose. I added Mother Miranda inside of the thing. The Masked Duke. Hey, worst masked singer contestant, am I right or am I right? Added Evelyn there. She's back. Kay, who we don't know much about, but I'm interested to see if they bring him back for the next installment. Same with this buffoon. I want to know more about these two guys, who they work for, what their connection is with Rose, all that stuff. I also cleaned up the houses a little bit, so House Heisenberg and all the things that have to do with him. Sturm, that's his name. All the stuff that has to do with him. House Dimitrescu. Here's the thing I was going to say earlier, too. You can find a CD of her inside of the Winters house. You can find that she was a jazz singer way back in the day. Miss D and the Paul Boys. So that's really cool. That's a cool, like, a little link to her. Added all the Cadeau stuff, Mega Mycete stuff, the Black God, her connection with Oswald Spencer, all that stuff. Cleaned up for the House of Beneviento, added the gardeners here as well. And Moreau was the one we know the least about, unfortunately. Moreau was the one we know the least about. Added stuff to our timeline. This did happen on February 29th, 2021. That's when all of this happened. And then in 2037 is when the Shadow of Rose DLC goes down. 2037. That is 17 years later. Rest in peace to Ethan. I added 2 different Mias, the real one and the fake one, just to clean that up a little bit. And I added Jack Baker here because he killed our boy. He killed the real version of our boy. So rest in peace to our boy Ethan Winters. Alright, I have some post-game theories to discuss with you guys before we wrap up. So, number 1, first theory is, I think that the Duke and the Merchant are sort of deities or guardian angels of the Resident Evil franchise. I feel like, you know, the game mechanic is that they just appear when you need the most. It's like, you know, when you're right about to get into a boss fight, someone's there to sell you ammo. Sure, God bless. But I think lore-wise, it would make sense in my brain if these two were like some sort of guardian spirits that like guarded that were watching over Leon and Ethan respectively. They always have sage advice to help out our protagonist. I think that's very interesting. And also the whole idea that business is business and that they're only helping Ethan and Leon to like make a quick buck. I don't think that is entirely true because I think that they're like the main customers were like the bad guys, and now we're helping them kill their best customers. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I feel like they are there for a reason, and that reason is to help our protagonist out. Also, another big like piece of advice or evidence to this is that Ethan, when his heart is ripped out and the Duke saves him, which is another thing, the Duke literally saves Ethan. Ethan asks, "What even are you?" And the Duke says, "Even I can't answer that question." Which makes me think that there's something more underneath the surface between these two characters. So I'm interested to see more. I'm wondering if they're gonna bring them back at some point. That'd be cool, and like we find that out. But I'd also be really satisfied if we didn't. If we just are settled with the idea that they are like a guardian spirit of some sort. Another theory that I have is that the Duke died. I think that the Duke died during the Miranda fight because he showed up in the Mega Mycete at the very, very end during the Rose DLC. And the only way that you'd end up within like the database of the Mega Mycete is if you died, and I feel like that's what might have happened. And that would also mean that he also had to be infected by it, I think. So I think that that's also what happened. Or he served his purpose. He helped Ethan get to where he needed to get to, and he just like passed on from there. So that's the other thing. But I still think that he died near the Mega Mycete. other theory is that this scene in Resident Evil 7, this one, is within the database of the Megamycete. So I think that if we as Ethan in Resident Evil 7 could have walked around in the room that we found Jack in, I think we could have also learned more. We could have found Marguerite, we could have found Lucas, and everybody else infected by the Megamycete. So I think that that's what this is. And I say kind of because I think it's kind of confirmed what this is, but I think that that's my theory. And then final theory is I think that this is the BSAA. I think this guy, this buffoon, this idiot, this nincompoop is part of the BSAA. And I think that they have taken Rose into custody. They have taken her away from Mia, and that they're kind of training her, watching over her, making sure she doesn't do anything crazy, doesn't turn into another Evelyn, you know what I mean? And I think that this man's antics fall in line with kind of what Chris was doing. And when Chris left when he went rogue within the BSAA, I think this man kind of falls in line with the thinking of like BSAA. So that's what I think it is. That's what I think it is. Quick look-see here. Let me just show you where I added it to our general lore board for Resident Evil. This is our big old Resident Evil lore board where we add, the essential parts of the games that we played, right? For example, Resident Evil 5 lives here. All the Tricell stuff. Panam Stam with the movie that we watched. Resident Evil 6 and the C virus live here. Resident Evil 4 lives here with Las Plagas. Chris Redfield has a very decorated story, so everything that he's done is right there. So Resident Evil 7 is right here, right? And right next to that is Resident Evil 8. I put Resident Evil 8 here so that Mother Miranda can be connected to Spencer. But I added the Megamycete stuff, the Cadeaux, which she created, the Parasite, the 4 Lords I added there. They're not truly essential to general lore, but I added them because they represented something within the Cadeaux and the Cadeaux experiments that Mother Miranda was conducting. And we have added the red line that signifies that the character has died for Mr. Ethan Winters. The father's story is finished. And we are now moved on. Rest in peace to my boy. All right, well, that does it for me. Those are our Resident Evil 8 things that we had to do today, Chad. That is the Resident Evil 8 chapter closed. If you watch the entire playthrough later on YouTube, and this is where you're watching it from, thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Thank you for accompanying me on this Resident Evil 8 journey. And we are still going strong with the Resident Evil games right here at Modlon Games.